Red Dead Redemption 2 has ruined gaming for me. That's what this video is about, that's the title of this video, and make no mistake about it, it's not clickbait. It's not there just so you can watch the video, it's the truth. And I'm going to dive deeper into that later on. But I've just finished playing Red Dead Redemption 2. It's taken me literally a month, from the 27th of October to the 27th of November. I finished the game. And to put it lightly, it was a pretty good game. To put it bluntly, it's the greatest game I've ever played. So a lot of people keep telling me, should I buy this game? People who haven't played it yet, they say, should I buy it? People who, as soon as the game came out, will ask me, should I play this game? And honestly, it's not for everyone. Just because I would rate this game a 10 out of 10 and it's sitting on, what, a 97 on Metacritic doesn't mean everybody's going to enjoy this game. A few friends of mine have bought it and I told a few of them, this game's not for you. And rest assured, it wasn't. They stopped playing the game in Chapter 2. This game isn't about bang bang, explosions and shootouts all the time. It's not about that. It's not like that. This game is about immersion. Everything Rockstar has done on this game is about immersion. It's to immerse you into the world, and they have done a perfect job of doing that. This is the most immersive game I have ever played. It's not just GTA 5 in the Wild West, it really isn't. It focuses on character development and world building, and it does that through 4 different ways: the gameplay, the world, the story, and the main character, Arthur Morgan. So some of the missions in the game that most people say are slow, I'd say it's methodical. So it's on purpose. These slow segments are on purpose because Rockstar's like, hey, we spent 8 years in this game. You're not finishing in a couple days. But Rockstar demands you take your time with this game. And you need to have that mindset too. You can't rush through this game because it just doesn't work. You can't rush through it. The missions you have are about building up characters. It's not just about explosions. And there's like 108 missions or something. So it's a long, long game. Even when you think it's over, it's not. So I'm going to dive into those 4 things about this game that make it the masterpiece that it is and make it the most immersive game ever. And then after that, I'll tell you exactly why it's ruined gaming for me. Let's begin.
Let's meet up at the factory. Let's ride! Yeah!
Go with him. Try and help there. I'm better off alone.
We're riding with you.
Come on then. Yeah! Let's ride!
One of the biggest criticisms coming out from Red Dead Redemption 2 are the controls and how it can feel sluggish and slow at times, and that can result in the experience being cumbersome. And I completely agree with that, although towards the end of Chapter 4 I did get used to all the controls and stuff like shooting from the horse didn't bother me as much. However, that's just a small negative to the game when the gameplay in general is really fun. I love the shooting animations and the fact that it's got realistic reloading, and also the mini games such as poker and dominoes and five finger fillet are all so fun. You can actually spend quite a lot of time doing these things. I think I spent like an hour playing dominoes just because I enjoy playing it in real life, so I just played it in the game too. I mean, why not? There's also random encounters which happen so often, and they're super fun to do as well, and they just completely feel like they're canon. They don't feel like they're just side activities, they feel like they are a part of the main story. There's also hunting, which is one of my favorite things to do because it has realistic skinning. So when you kill an animal and you get a perfect shot, it will have a star rating of 1 to 3. 3 being a perfect one, you can sell the pelt for more money. And when Arthur goes to skin the animal, it looks so gruesome but cool at the same time. And there are so many moments where, for example, I've shot an animal but I've missed its head, and I've shot its leg or something. It tries to run off, and all of a sudden it can't because, well, its leg's been shot, so it's screaming and screaming. So I go over it and put a knife to its neck and the suffering, but it feels so realistic. And that's the thing that I get the most from the gameplay, is how realistic it is. And the animations just help so much. Even Arthur himself feels like he's got so much weight to him. When he jumps over a fence, there's weight to it. When he kicks off the ground, when he's sprinting away, it really feels like he's kicking off of the earth, and he leaves footprints, and the footprints will have mud and water will go onto the footprints. It's so detailed, the animation. One of my favorite things to do is do bounty hunter missions, and even the bounty hunter missions have actual stories to them. But what I would do is I would get my horse ready, I would go have a bath, get my hair cut, sleep in the inn, Then I would get out, get a bounty hunter mission and go collect the bounty and earn some money. And that was one of my favorite things to do, and it just felt immersive. There's also a ton of other stuff to do. You can customize your horse, customize your gun, customize your camp. This game is brimming with activities. There's taming horses and much more that I'm probably just forgetting. Also, there's collectibles, and if I haven't said it already, collectibles in games for the most part are boring, but in this game they're fun. The dream catchers actually give you a pretty neat reward that make it worthwhile going around and finding them, but in general the gameplay for this game is very good. I don't think I have ever played a game that has a world as beautiful as Red Dead Redemption 2. There is only one word to describe the world in RDR2, and that is breathtaking. From literal start to the literal end of this game, I could not stop marveling at how gorgeous the world looks. And not only that, but it doesn't just leave it at exploring a certain area. It gives you a variety of different areas to explore, from snowy mountain peaks to swamps to luscious jungles to forests to open fields, farms. So much variety in this game, and not to mention the weather effects look spectacular. The storms and the sun and the snow and leaving your footprints in the snow and things like that look spectacular and just add to the detail in this world. One of my favorite missions in the game is when you get on a hot air balloon and it takes you into the sky and it kind of builds up this climax, and when you're in the sky and you pass the clouds, it looks like you're in heaven or something. It is absolutely stunning. The graphics in this game, by the way, are top notch. This is the best looking game I have ever played. And it puts games like Fallout 76 to shame, because there's no excuse. With Red Dead Redemption 2 being as good as it looks and having a bigger world, there's no excuse for these other AAA developers to have a world that doesn't look as good or even close to as good as Red Dead Redemption 2's. The world is gorgeous. And me saying all this stuff doesn't do it justice. You have to experience this world for yourself. It's so good that I don't want to leave it. I'm going to start a Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough again. And this time I'm going to 100% complete it, because being in this world doesn't get boring. I love riding around in cinematic mode and then having all the different camera angles. I rarely ever took the train or stagecoaches or even fast travel from camp, just because I enjoyed the experience of going from place to place. Even though you do that a lot and it can get a bit boring at times, for me, I just enjoy doing it. I enjoy the long journeys. Throughout a journey, wherever you're going to go, something's going to happen along the way, and it makes that journey memorable. And there are so many of these memorable things filled up in this world, so many NPCs and animals and things to do in this world. It doesn't feel like the world revolves around you, the player. It just feels like it's a world and you're just a part of it. And that's what makes this game's world the best I've ever played in a video game.
I can hunt, carry a knife, or use a gun, but I tell you, you keep me here, I'll skin this fat old coot and serve him for dinner!
Watch your damn mouth, you crazy goddamn fishwife! Enough, both of you! Well, come with me then. You want to head out there, run with the man? So be it. But we do more than just hunting. We're hunted. And them things hunting us, well, they got guns of their own.
I ain't afraid of dying.
Good.
In my opinion, this is the greatest story I've ever played in a video game. And a lot of people are going to jump around and say, oh, but what about The Last of Us? And fair enough, that's a great story too. There are many games that I can show you that have a great story, but Red Dead Redemption 2's story isn't just that it's a good story, but it's a long story, it's a detailed story, and it has amazing characters with amazing script writing, phenomenal voice acting where you can't be flawed. I mean, Roger Clark, who plays Arthur Morgan, top notch, absolute top notch. His voice acting is impressive throughout the entirety of the game, and bear in mind the amount of dialogue these guys had to voice act throughout the entire game is insane. It's crazy. I think it was like a number of 750,000 lines of dialogue or something ridiculous like that. I forgot what it was, but it's a ridiculous number. More than any game that's ever existed probably. But more than just the story and the storytelling, it's the characters. The characters shine so much, and there's so many of them that I was worried that the story would suffer from predictability because I knew where the story was going to go. I knew Arthur's fate. I made a video about it 5 months ago and I got it right. But the story that these guys have displayed in Red Dead Redemption 2 with the character development that they've displayed, and the main three characters being Arthur, John, and Dutch, the progression of those three is the best part about the story. But the story in general, how it starts and how it ends and how it is a long story, a very long story that takes time to complete, immerses you in it. You care about these characters. And when some characters die, you're shocked. Or at least I was. The story is top notch.
Either you got a lazy eye or lack of respect. Which is it, boy?
I ain't got no lazy eye. No respect for the likes of you.
Well, maybe when your mother's finished mourning your father, I'll keep her in black, on your behalf. You think on that, boy?
Well, maybe you shall, sir. And maybe other events will transpire.
You best stick to them books, because mark my words on this. Vengeance is an idiot's game.
So I wanted to make a video about why I think Ezio Auditore from the Assassin's Creed franchise is the greatest gamer protagonist of all time. If I made that video now, I'd be lying. Because playing as Arthur Morgan and experiencing his journey made him my favourite protagonist in gaming history. And I'm going to make another video about this, diving deeper into it and why he's the greatest gaming protagonist. Because I feel like this video is kind of off the top of my head. So making a video where I can script it can give him, you know, the respect he deserves. Because this character really is good, and his voice acting by Roger Clark is on another level. The voice acting in general for this game is on another level, but just Arthur Morgan in general, his comments on the world and the way he talks and the loyalty he has is amazing. I love the story that he has. And basically, I feel so bad. I felt so bad for him because all he ever wanted and all he ever knew was to be loyal and to help the gang. He's the right-hand man of Dutch, and all he's ever done, all the bad, the good, everything he's ever done was for the camp. And towards the end of the game, he starts seeing things differently, especially when he gets diagnosed with tuberculosis. As soon as that moment hit, I stopped being a bad guy completely. Because at the beginning, it warranted it. I felt like if somebody disrespected me, I could shoot them in the head. I didn't care. I was this cool outlaw. I remember one time, this woman was getting kidnapped. She was getting kidnapped, so I, took out the guy kidnapping her, and the horse ran off. It took me a while to get the horse back, but I got the horse, took her off it, and she was like, "What took you so long?" I cut her free, and she was rude. I forgot what she said, but she was being rude. So I was like, you know what? So I'm not this goody two-shoes. So I tied her back up, I hog-tied her, put her on a horse, I told the horse to flee away, and I left her on it. I didn't care. But when he gets diagnosed with tuberculosis, Rockstar really makes you want to be a good guy, because it feels like it's the right thing to do, and it feels like that's what Arthur wants to do. He wants to be the good guy. And the character development and the direction that Arthur goes after he gets diagnosed with it, that's the best part of the game for me. That last chapter was just chaos. And the ending, because you get you get like 4 different types of ending. 2 bad endings and then 2 good endings. But I was a good guy at the end. My honor bar was all the way to the top. And when I helped John escape, and he gives John his hat, and John calls him brother, oh man, it was so sad. It was so sad. And when the horse died and Arthur's like, Oh man, just thinking about it really gets me sad again because it was such a powerful moment. And then the music hits and you're trying to like kill as many people as you can before John, so John can escape. And the music's there and then you fight Micah on the mountain and then, you know, you're suffering from tuberculosis. It felt like Logan from the X-Men movie. You know Logan, where at the end he struggles to fight all the guys off because he's quite weakened from his disease. That's the same with Arthur. He would have killed Micah. He could have done so much damage, but he was weakened by his disease. And what's funny is, since the beginning of the game, I actually made my character look like Logan. He had the chops shaved down, and then the rest of his face was completely shaved. And his hair was like styled very neatly. So I made him look like Logan, and I really liked playing him as that badass character. But at the end, where he looks at the sunrise and he's facing it and he just dies peacefully on that mountain, it was sad, but it was also kind of happy because he got the death that he desired. And so here we are. First, I want to say thank you for watching this long if you have. It's quite a long video, I didn't expect it to be this long, but here we are towards the end. And I promised you I'd tell you how Red Dead Redemption 2 has ruined gaming for me. It doesn't make me want to stop playing games, of course. What I mean by ruined is that whatever game comes out from now on is going to have to try and hit the pedestal that Red Dead Redemption 2 is hit. And I don't think there's any game coming out in the next year or two, or maybe even more, that can compete with this. The next game I feel that could compete is Cyberpunk 2077, but I don't predict that game to have nearly as good as a story, or nearly as good as a main character. Because The Witcher 3 didn't have that great of a main story, it didn't make you feel for the characters. It had a cool main character and had a lot of cool side missions, yeah, and a great world, but it's that main story that it didn't have. And then it's the immersion. I don't know if any game can immerse me like this game has. The closest would be in Skyrim. And then the story of this game is like a story out of a linear 12-hour campaign game. And the world is just so gorgeous. I don't feel like there is a game out there that has been announced right now that can take on Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of the aspects. Because in this game, the gameplay, for me, is like a 10 out of 10. The world is a 10 out of 10. The story is a 10 out of 10. Arthur Morgan, a 10 out of 10. This game is a 10 out of 10 and one of only 3 games that I've ever thought was a 10 out of 10. It is a masterpiece. And whatever game comes after this, it's gonna have trouble competing to get even close to Red Dead Redemption 2's level. And that's what I mean by it's ruined gaming for me. Because I don't feel like a game can compete. Whatever game comes after this, I feel it's going to be compared to this, and I'm just going to be like, well, you know, Red Dead Redemption 2 did it better, and also it's an older game. It has set the bar. Graphics, gameplay, story, protagonists, everything. And if you can experience this game and you can bear with its long story and sluggish gameplay, you'll find a gem. A game that is beyond just a game, and for the first time, and this sounds cheesy, I can actually say is an experience. Because I always used to cringe when people say, oh, this game, it's not just a game, it's an experience. And I was like, ugh. And it makes you feel like Spider-Man. I was like, ugh. I used to scoff at that and think, oh, that's so dumb. But this game, I'm gonna say it. It makes you feel like a cowboy, makes you feel like a badass, and you experience an amazing story. You experience it. I said it. Hands up. I said it. But that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned because I will make a video about Arthur where I will script it and I'll give him the respect he deserves, because this guy was the best character to ever be created in a video game. Thanks for watching. Take care.
But I could not see, and I don't wonder, as a wayward son, was a hunter.